Let's begin by telling you that the Department of State's Services has refuted reports claiming that its officers had raided the headquarters of the Nigerian Labour Congress, especially in Abuja. The denial comes following allegations by NLC that the service had sent armed men to its office and that they had carted away some documents. According to the union, the operatives stormed the Labour House around 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday. The NLC said it was not immediately able to ascertain all the things taken away from its offices. However, in a response on Thursday, the spokesperson for the service, Peter Afunaya, said its personnel were not responsible for the ransacking of the Labour Union's office. Meanwhile, eyewitnesses at the premises of the alleged invasion of the Nigerian Labour Congress Labour House headquarters in Abuja have disputed claims of an invasion by the NLC by personnel of the Department of State Services. The NLC in a statement accused security operatives of illegally raiding its office without a valid search warrant over the ongoing End Bad Governance protests. Our correspondent Idong Joseph visited the NLC facility and filed in this report.
This is a brief conversation with eyewitnesses who were on the ground when the alleged raid of the National Secretariat of the Nigerian Labour Congress happened last night. After unsuccessful efforts to get occupants and security personnel guarding the facility to speak to us on camera, we had to rely on this recording.
DSS. You say whether you don't check the man for house, you don't see the man. That's why they come to the man office.
A white guy, where is that white guy? That was what he said, was asked. Contrary to the statement that the NLC had issued this morning, saying that it was its office.
News Central Television crew made another effort to get the NLC to respond to its press release, stating that their National Secretariat was ransacked, alleging that the invading security operatives claimed they were looking for seditious materials used for the #EndBadGovernance protest. The General Secretary of the NLC explained to us their side of the story.
They should. Why, if they knew that it was an individual using it in that place, what were they looking for at the 10th floor? 10th floor is occupied solely by Nigerian Labour Congress. That's where both the General Secretary and President stay. We have closed and gone home. They went and abducted our security man from the 10th floor, took him to the 2nd floor at gunpoint, and then kept him to watch them smash and cut away things. So what do you expect us to say? Well, we should bring out the red carpet for them or drums.
While the NLC is insisting that the DSS was responsible, the Department of State Services, through its X handle, denied the allegation.
People that came there in the night, you want me to go to where people came to visit in the night when I have gone? With the kind of equipment and facilities they brought, we don't have that capacity. Until they come out and say what they have done, and then tell the world that the place is safe for us, we won't go there now.
The case in question becomes another fallout from the #EndBadGovernance protest, which is expected to end on August the 10th. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
A candlelight procession is being held in honor of people who lost their lives during the recent #EndBadGovernance protest. No fewer than 21 persons were feared killed in Abuja, Kano, Niger, Borno, Kaduna, and Jigawa during the protest. During the protest, Nigerians took to the streets to express their dissatisfaction on the state of the economy after the removal of fuel subsidy, which has led to high cost of living. Well, we'll bring to you more updates on that. But in the meantime, the ongoing nationwide End Bad Governance protest, no doubt, has affected economic activities and left tails on both the rich and the poor. In this report, News Central correspondent Austin Azu focuses on how the exercise has affected market men and women in Port Harcourt, the River State capital.
A viral video surfaced on the social media where protesters gave stern warning to market men and women in Port Harcourt to lock their shops throughout the remaining days of the ongoing nationwide End Bad Governance protest in the state. and join the movement. The warning came with threats.
Everybody living in River State, tomorrow, next tomorrow, the other day after next tomorrow, there is no shop that is opening. Everywhere is shut down.
Though the protesters in the oil-rich Niger Delta state were seen on the roads and streets, until suspected thugs invaded them on day 7 at the federal secretariat. Meanwhile, how has business become for these marketmen and women in Port Harcourt since the protest started in the states?
My business, see my cooler now, I see full and drinks full inside. I need a first sell.
I know it's sell again. If you the money sell 5,000 before, now you not even carry 1 naira go house. So. You understand? The thing truly affects me. If
the protest that affect our business well.
My brother, the protest don't crumble my business. Right from day one, when this protest starts. For the first day, I don't even come out. Second, I don't come out. As I come out, before 12 o'clock, we close. Then say, come, we run, go house. The same day, up to today, say, see where my market there, see where I can stand. Just to the look main road. I know nothing we do again, I beg. More can help us, I beg.
As they do our business now, they go like they go before. Everything just they cost. At the same time, go on self, they know they open shop, meet up on time. The business just they go somehow, we just they manage them, they do anyhow we see, we collect and like that.
As the hashtag End Bad Governance protest enters day 10 and the last day, the hunger protests have been suspended by many states following the nationwide broadcast by President Bola Tinubu. In Port Harcourt, for News Central, Austin Azu.
And talking of Austin Azu, he joins us here this morning on News Now. Austin, quick one. Do the people of River State believe that the protest was indeed impactful? Having seen in that report that there seems to be counter reactions of what the protest had done, especially to businesses and livelihoods. But first of all, let's find out what the general thoughts were or are concerning the protest.
First and foremost, currently here in Port Harcourt, the atmosphere seems not to be like before anymore, because ordinarily before this time, protesters ought to be on the street already demonstrating. But currently, when we had some invaders that invaded them on the 7th, so it seems the protest seems to have relaxed. But however, the discussion whether they will return back to the street or not is still ongoing, so we are yet to get a full confirmation from the organizers of this protest. Talking about the economy and its impacts, however, business activity has started picking up, unlike what they had some time ago, where people don't really have access to go to their various shops. From the report, you can see that market has started picking up. Traders have started coming out and buyers have started coming out as well to exchange goods and services. Or like you had earlier on that people might likely just close their shops and temporarily join the protest. Nevertheless, from what we equally gather was like some other suspected hoodlums take advantage of the ongoing protests in the state and that started looting, committing mayhem, and vis-a-vis due the characteristics that led to the suspected anti-protesters coming out to stop the ongoing state protest.
All right, Austin. Earlier on during the protest, in one of the days while the activities were ongoing, we did see where protesters were marching to the home of the former governor of River State, now the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, and many had tagged the protest therefore that it was politically motivated. You were on ground, you saw how everything happened. Can you confirm to us what people are saying concerning the protest being politically motivated or not? Or do you think people truly came out because of how they felt, especially with the economy?
Yes, I can confirm to you that the 1, the 2, the 3 seems to be like the real protesters coming out to, exercise their franchise, and the 5, 6, and 7 seems become like political, engagement. However, day of the 7 was so it was so very clear when the anti-protesters intercepted the rail protesters and they started beating them up, and they started, there was kind of rumbles within the state capital, and the police have to step in. However, fingers were pointing at different political gladiators in the state. Don't forget to that the ongoing political unrest in the state has not been settled fully. So some persons are taking advantage of this ongoing nationwide protests for them to begin to exercise their political muscles. So it might not be wrong for some individuals to be pointing fingers to those loyal to the governor and those loyal to the FCT minister. So these are the information we have gathered so far, that it has taken over by thugs suspected to be political loyalists to some big politicians that are not far different from the one I mentioned earlier on, the loyalists to FCT minister and that of the governor.
All right. One last question for you. I mean, we did see the Governor Siminalayi Fubara, address the protesters days during the protest, and he had said that he was with them, was going to give them something to actually go ahead and take care of the protest, or take care of them while they were engaging in protest. After that, would you say that the government or the governor of Rivers State was fully behind the protesters, ensuring that they were protected, even though we did hear that others infiltrated the entire protest?
First and foremost, let's understand the fact that the governor is just the chief security of the state, but he doesn't control security. So it's the police that controls the security of the state. So the day of the invasion, the police were fully there. The governor can just assure them that, of course, as the chief security officer, I'm going to be with you, either spirit or physically or otherwise. But the people who control the security are the police, and the police are visibly everywhere in the state. Most especially those designated areas that protesters were supposed to converge and where they are supposed to take off from, and the routes they are supposed to march through before they get to their destination. Of course, these protests, from the way the police strategized it, there was a place meant for the protesters to stay. And not only that, there was a place made for other people to stay so that they don't, obstruct vehicular movement. They don't cause mayhem on the road, just to be in their locations and demonstrate. So, however, the protesters seem not to be comfortable within that confined zone. So they believe that for them to express themselves, they have to move, they have to process, they have to move further and get to where they will submit their petitions or express their grievances and dissatisfaction about the economy. And that was what happened on the one of the protests when they came to Government House here to register their grievances. However, we only have some group of persons who have been protesting in different parts of the state. So probably they might go to their LGA office. But of course, the LGA office is still under lock and key. The security agencies, the police are still, mounting the entrance, blocking the entrance of the LGA, pending when the Supreme Court will give its own judgment on the legality of the caretaker committee that were sacked or whose tenures expired, and those ones that were sworn in by the governor. So from all indications, the people who are protesting and those who are anti-protest, the security agency is the one providing them security and not the governor, as assured.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Austin Azu. We look forward to hear from you again in our subsequent news bulletin. And let's take a look and see. Hopefully, the protest has ended there in Rivers State. There wouldn't be a day 9 or possibly a day 10. Let's move on now to our next story on News Now. Activities have returned back to normal in Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria, following the easing of the 2-day curfew recently imposed by the state government. Some residents blamed the recent violence witnessed in the state during the End Bad Governance protest, saying they hope there is no repeat of such. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
Ahmadu Bello Way and the Kaduna Central Market back to life after shutting down for 2 days.
The citizens of Kaduna State can now go ahead with their normal businesses following the relaxation of the curfew by the governor, Ubasani. Now the citizens have confessed that they have learned their lessons and will learn to protest in peace so that they will avoid any situation that will make them go back to their homes as a result of curfew.
A lot of people have opened their shop. People are going out. Even then, I came here to buy some of the items, some of the food items. So everything now is successful now.
I'm really happy because, you know, a movement have continued, means of economy have continued, everything have continued in the right way.
Even to hit in the house, in fact, it's too terrible. But now that we get more relief now, people can move out. Anybody that can use Okada or do many things to get a daily something to feed his family, he can be going to his work now.
Some of the residents acknowledge the fault of some of the protesters whose alleged act of violence and looting made the state government to impose the curfew.
Kullum da aka ya zama mana kamar darasi kenan. Matasan mu karana wayanda suke yara abinda suke ba su kyauta ba. To amma yanzu da muka dawo kaga ya kamata mu koyi karatun tanatsu.
A gaskiya ba su kyauta ba. Su san cewa kamar yanda suke ganin sun ɗibi dukiyan wasu akan ba su da shi, to haka duk wani wanda suke ganin yana da wani abu a dacin shi na yana da mataki ne kamar su abe da komai har ya nema. Da haka abinsa ba na gwamnati ba ne.
I am feeling very very happy. Ina jin daɗi sosai. Ba don komai ba saboda zaman nan da muka yi na gida gaskiya mun ji a jika domin Allah. Duk da dai an yi abin da ya kamata. An yi hakan ne saboda gwamnati san halin da talakawa suke ciki. But amma hakan da muka yi an yi daidai, wani wurin kuma za a ce ba daidai ba. Ta wurin da ba daidai ba matasan mu gaskiya sun yi sata. Kamar mu yanzu ƙananan 'yan kasuwa a ce ka zo ka kasa kawai a zo a kwasan ma kayan nan namu ba na gwamnati bane, namu ne saboda muna yi ne mu samu mu rufa mu junan mu asiri.
The 24-hour curfew earlier imposed in the state had really affected livelihood and other businesses. It is expected that lessons have been learned and citizens will respect the current restriction of movement from 8 to 6 p.m. so that the state will return to its normal shape. In Kaduna State, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
And talking of Emmanuel Bagudu, he joins us here on News Now. Emmanuel, this morning we've seen that life is back seemingly a bit, not fully because of the partially lifted curfew. Can you tell us how residents of Kaduna Zaria are indeed reacting to this this new order?
Even though it's a bit restricted, and of course they have adapted to the situation yesterday when it started. Today is the second day of the restriction of movement from 8 a.m. of course to 6 p.m. and that implies that the way they work, the activities, the way they do their things is now abnormal. It's not the way they used to do it before. They have to manage their time very well and make sure that they get back to their homes by 6 p.m. and then relax, then wake up the next day and then start coming out by 8 a.m. the next day. That is the situation they have adapted to. But we are going to be tilting our attention towards Zaria, who are also facing the same fate. Because we understand that there are other people who are affected during the military, enforcement of the curfew. And then of course we know that Ahmadu Bello University and other federal institutions have actually suspended exams because of the issue. So we're looking at that, by the time we hit Zaria in the afternoon.
All right. I'm looking forward to move to Zaria to also see how the educational sector has been impacted on. But then again, is anybody out there in Zaria or in Kaduna, are they ruining their chances, or are they actually wishing that the protests never took place? What's the feelers like? You've spoken to some of them. Do you think they would have made a different choice rather than accept that protests should actually ensue, or there shouldn't have been any protests, looking at the losses as well?
Generally here, the general thought here is that the protests should have gone on, because they expressed a lot of feeling of anger for the fact that the government, instead of listening to the cries of the protesters, they went ahead to impose a curfew. And then of course the general ambience here is the fact that the youth are actually after that. When you look at it, they are not even complaining. The complaint they made, if you listen to those Hausa sound bites, the complaint they made was that the looters, the hoodlums, actually are attacking innocent citizens, and they are saying there's a word they say that they should not transfer their anger, their aggression, their anger with government on their fellow citizens, which are the traders. So which means they want the protest to continue, and then if anybody has a grief He shouldn't attack an innocent citizen. He should address it together with the government. So they want the protest to go on, and then but they don't want crime. They don't want crime. So those are the words, those Hausa speaking respondents actually were calling for. Yeah.
All right. Finally, very quickly, you had reported that the management of the Nigerian army were to meet with Sabaru Zaria community. I mean, over the case of the killing of the teenager, I'm talking about Ismail Mohammed. Any development concerning that?
Yes, I confirmed that from Mohammed Husseini, the father of Ismail Mohammed, the deceased. He told me personally that they had a meeting with the Nigerian Army Corps of Military Police, and that is the arm of the military. That's the arm of the army that is meant to do a court martial after they suspect that there's a military officer has committed a crime. So they said they are going to get back to them after investigation is completed. So we're going to be following that investigation to see how things are unfolding.
All right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Bagudu. We look forward to hear from you again, especially when you touch down Zaria, and hopefully we'll get more updates. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring to you more stories. Do well to stay with us. Welcome back. 7 people were reportedly injured after the fire incident at the mobile filling station at Awolowo Way, Ikeja, Lagos State. Director of Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adesheye, said a gas truck was discharging its content into a surface storage tank when it ignited. According to her, several individuals sustained injuries and were transported to Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, Lasuth, for treatment. Earlier, an eyewitness, Omojola Temilade, gave an account of the incident while speaking with News Central's Bernard Akede.
I saw some guys, at least about 2. One was seated on the main road. The man has already got burned completely. So I don't know whether he survived it or not. And another one too. I think the fire caught the half of the body of that person. I don't know where about the 2 of them. That's what I saw.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay, guys, I'll wrap this up with the information I got from the authorities. I was able to speak to one of the authorities from Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, who explained to me that, as I was saying earlier, it was in the process of some kind of gas exchange. There must have been some kind of leak, like the lady explained, and we know how flammable gas is and how combustible it can be. That must have been what led to the fire incident. Information reaching me has it that about 7 persons have been hospitalized, seriously injured, but they have been taken care of, and that one of the 7 persons have experienced about 70% burns all over the body, and that's the one I believe the lady was talking about. That person has been rushed to Bagada General Hospital, where he's the burns unit, where he or she, I haven't been able to verify the person's gender yet, he or she is receiving critical treatment.
Well, over now to another sad news coming in from Bayelsa State, where a devastating boat explosion has claimed the lives of at least 20 people. The wooden cargo boat, God Bless Dixon, was carrying over 64 passengers and crew when it caught fire and exploded in the Bayelsa waterways on Wednesday. According to ASP Musa Mohammed, police spokesman in Bayelsa, the incident occurred along the Ezetu 1 community in southern Ijo local government area. Rescue efforts by the Marine Police Unit are still ongoing as the full extent of the tragedy becomes clear. The boat was carrying farm produce from a rural settlement to Swali Market in Yanagwa when the disaster struck. Ogoniba Ikpigansi, chairman of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria Bayelsa chapter, also confirmed the incident on Thursday. Political parties in Nigeria have called for urgent judicial reform, saying this will strengthen the nation's democracy. Now, this was during the Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria's inaugural roundtable in Abuja, where political stakeholders have praised the growth of the nation's democracy and reviewed the role of the judiciary in adjudicating election petitions. News Central's Joshua Imarai has more details.
Members across different political parties all converge in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. The event, the inaugural Inter-Party Advisory Council Roundtable. Stakeholders at the roundtable called on the judiciary, saying there's a need for reform so as to strengthen Nigeria's democracy.
Key issues of great concern to the Interparty Advisory Council and stakeholders include constitutional interpretation and judicial review, dangers of conflicting court judgments, making sense of the political logjam and traditional embargo in Rivers and Kano states respectively, judicial independence and accountability, the National Judicial Commission Council (NJC), and the effectiveness of current disciplinary measures in coming misconduct.
Politicians must leave the judiciary alone, from recruitments to appointments to recommendations to everything.
It should be legislated that political parties should have fixed arbitration panels to deal with all of their disputes and save the courts. From being inundated with so many cases, and it's these many cases that are creating so many problems of conflicting judgments.
INEC said they wanted the law, and so we worked so hard to get them the law. But INEC is one of the reasons for the brutalization of the judiciary itself, because we have to say the truth. What has the court got with the declaration of results?
I believe one of the key pillars of a vibrant democracy is an independent judiciary. Therefore, stakeholders in the democratic process must ensure that the judiciary remains free from external influences and interference.
No president will make electoral reform that will lead to his downfall in office. Only Jonathan. It's only Jonathan that introduced a data capturing machine and ended up being captured.
Stakeholders here are saying that for transparency to thrive in Nigeria, judges must not be seen to have any kind of relationship with Nigeria's political elite because it is capable of eroding public trust and undermining the integrity of the judiciary. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Well, we do hear this morning that there seems to be pandemonium in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And to confirm this, we have our man, Joshua Imarai, joining us again this morning. Joshua, if you can hear me, can you please quickly confirm to us what's really happening there in Abuja? Has it got to do with the protesters or the End Bad Governance protests? Or better still, is there anything, if at all, that's taking place in the Federal Capital Territory?
Well, cloudy morning from Abuja here, Hanson. Abuja right now is on lockdown as security operatives are seen in every exit and entrance of the city. Now, I can tell you for sure that every entrance and exit to the city has been narrowed down by security operatives mounting guard. And what is happening, we can experience so far that there are routine checks. There are checks to every car. Every car is subjected to checks, boot checks, under the car checks, before they are allowed to enter the city center. But on getting to the stadium right now, we can see a heavily guarded stadium entrance by security operatives. The officers of the Nigerian Army are here, the civil defense are here, and officers of the Nigerian Police Force are here. But on getting to the entrance of the National Stadium here, we were denied access by security operatives on ground because according to what they said they were giving strict instructions not to allow any protester or pressman, neither any media person, allowed seen in, out, or around the stadium. We just had to go a distance to give you the shot you are seeing currently.
Most definitely. I can see the military van just far behind you there, just to confirm what you've said. But very quickly, before we let you go, can you confirm if there's any sight, any view of a single protester around Abuja this morning?
Well, Joe, like I said earlier, Abuja is heavily guarded, and we have not seen the entrance of any single protester. There is never a placard carrying human seen here or around the city. The city is heavily guarded. No protester is in sight. Things are going as normal, as peaceful as it can be. We are seeing a very, very high influx of security men patrolling everywhere. So I can tell you for sure, no one, no citizen is out there in Abuja.
All right. Okay. Anyway, lastly, so can we confirm, can we rightly say that Abuja is back to business? Business is back to normal Everyone has gone to business. They've started doing what they do regularly right before the protest. And can you also confirm that the markets are indeed booming and back to normal?
Well, I can tell you for sure that activities have resumed and commuters are going on their daily activities. The junction this morning was filled with passengers trying to gain access into the city, but meeting security presence. The city center is busy as ever, but is is guarded heavily by security men and operatives patrolling and parading around the city center. I can tell you for sure that in the intersections leading to every part of the city, we can see structured security men ensuring that peace and normalcy is restored and is maintained here in the city center.
All right. Finally, just to confirm one more time, we did get reports looking at the timeline a few minutes ago that some protesters were being tear gassed in the FCT. Would like you to confirm that once again, especially to all our viewers who are watching. Any confirmation on that?
Well, Hanson, I can tell you that the air of Abuja is clear and free from every canister of tear gas. We've not seen any sight. We are monitoring the entire situation and we are trying to check around to see if there will be any. But for now, we've not seen any case of any protester being tear gas, and we can debunk that rumor here now.
All right. Thank you so much, Joshua Maragi, for joining us. We look forward to get back to you later on in the course of the news bulletin. Thanks for staying with us. The United Nations is warning of a growing threat from extremist groups in West Africa and the Sahel. A senior counter-terrorism official says the Islamic State and related groups are expanding their influence in the region. Valdemar Voronkov, the Undersecretary for Counter-Terrorism, briefed the Security Council on the escalating threat. He says the terrorism landscape in West Africa and the Sahel remains challenging and complex, with groups inflicting high casualties and undermining regional stability. According to Voronkov, 2 affiliates of the Islamic State have broadened and strengthened their operational territories in West Africa and the Sahel. If they increase their influence in the northern states, they could effectively control land from Mali to northern Nigeria. The United Nations is closely monitoring the situation and is concerned about the potential for further instability in the region. Let's go straight now to another story and tell you that the country has been recognized as a leading investment destination within East African Community EAC, reaffirming its status as the region's economic powerhouse despite concerns over political risk. Well, according to the Where to Invest in Africa 2024 report by Rand Merchant Bank Holdings, Kenya, the country we're talking about, robust fintech sector, particularly in mobile payments and agri-tech, coupled with its stable economy, has made the country an attractive target for foreign direct investments, FDI. Lekon Nobanjo tells us more.
Kenya accounts for nearly half of the East African country's gross domestic product, playing a crucial role in the region's economic landscape. The Horn of Africa nation's economy grew to 4.8% in 2022 and 5.6% in 2023 after agriculture rebounded and services grew moderately. It is poised to grow to 6.0% in 2024.
I think one of the things that you need to notice about the Kenyan economy is that it's very resilient. We have gone through other shocks in the past and come over them. One of them was COVID-19. We have gone through droughts. We have gone through turmoil in the neighboring countries like Somalia, like Ethiopia, like Sudan. If you go on the streets of Nairobi today and you are told that people used to riot 2-3 months ago, you may not believe it. Things tend to get back to normal very fast. So if you're an investor and there's a crisis, you wait and eventually you ride through the crisis and things go back to normal.
The Kenyan government can consolidate on this with fintech and insurance contributing approximately 33%, ICT 16.1%, mobile payments 5.7%, agri-tech 33%, and renewable energy 4%, according to the Where to Invest in Africa 2024 report recently released.
So if you look at agri-tech, if you look at the fintech, if you look at other sectors of the economy, the government has been very positive, making it very easy for you to get into the market and get out of the market.
You know, Kenya is host to a number of multilateral institutions. So that means that foreigners have a kind of a familiarity with Kenya. Markets are a bit more freer than they are in the region. Markets were liberalized in after 2002. After 2002, you also saw the proliferation of more banks.
The inflow of foreign direct investments into these key sectors so far in 2024 is about $3.819 billion. However, this pooling seems not to have positively impacted Kenyans in the areas of job creation, infrastructure development, economic stability, and living standards.
Kenya by nature has been a very unequal society. So even if the economy grows, it's some sections of the society that benefit. It does not always trickle down to the grassroots. The rate of growth in the last 5-10 years has been driven by the big projects, superhighways, the strategic gauge rail line. So big government projects have been driving the growth in the last few years.
Restructuring the debt so you don't raise taxes as much as you are. Have a consistent and predictable tax policy. Make it easy for people to do business. Don't create too many rules. Get rid of rules that you don't need, and then let the markets work.
Kenya's status as the top investment destination in the EAC highlights its economic potential and appeal to foreign investors. However, Kenya must amend its policies and address the political and economic challenges that could deter investors. In Lagos for News Central, Lekon Onobanjo.
A military court in the Democratic Republic of Congo has handed down death sentences to 26 defendants accused of belonging to the M23 rebel group. The defendants were found guilty of war crimes, insurrection and treason. 21 of the defendants are on the run, including prominent figures such as Corneille Nangaa, a former president of the Congolese Electoral Commission. The court also ordered the confiscation of their property. The M23 rebel group has seized large areas of territory in the eastern DRC since 2021. The government lifted a moratorium on the death penalty in March, aiming to target military personnel accused of treason. The 5 defendants present in court have 5 days to appeal the sentence. Donald Trump is proposing 3 debates against Kamala Harris in September as he seeks to regain attention and momentum in the presidential election. Harris has been surging in popularity, pulling in record fundraising and erasing Trump's polling lead. She's energized the Democratic base with a positive message and packed rallies. Trump, meanwhile, has scaled back his campaigning and finds himself in an unfamiliar position, eclipsed by Harris's rise. Trump says he's arranged debates with TV networks on September 4, 10, and 25. Harris has agreed to the September 10 debate on ABC News, but there's no word yet on the other proposed dates.
With all of that being said, I think it's very important to have debates, and we've agreed with Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with NBC, fairly full agreement, subject to them, on September 10th, and we've agreed with ABC on September 25th. So we have those 3 dates, and those networks, they're very anxiously awaiting that date. She hasn't done an interview.
Meanwhile, Kamala Harris says she's eager to debate Donald Trump on ABC News next month. Harris told reporters in Detroit, Michigan that she looks forward to it. When asked about Trump's earlier attempt to back out of the debate, Harris simply said she hopes he shows up. The two are set to face off on the 10th of September.
Well, I'm glad that he's finally agreed to a debate on September 10th. I'm looking forward to it and hope he shows up.
Are you open to moving?
I've talked to my team. I want us to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month.
Thank you.
As Bruma's quest for a back-to-back Olympic Games medal failed to yield results on Thursday night as she finished 5th with a jump of 6.70 meters. Bruma, who won a bronze medal at Tokyo 2021, failed to reproduce a form that earned her a silver medal at the World Championships in Oregon, USA. The 2 other Nigerian jumpers that made the final from the qualifying round, Ruth Usoro and Pristina Ochonogo, finished 10th and 12th. 25-year-old American Tara Davis Woodhull won the gold medal sealing victory with a gigantic fourth leap, posting 7.10 meters to take the title from Tokyo Olympic gold medalist and three-time world champion Malaika Mihambo of Germany, who claimed silver with 6.98 meters. While still staying with Paris Olympics, Botswana's Letsile Tebogo is a new men's 200 meters champion. The 21-year-old had thrown down the gauntlet in the semi-finals, setting the fastest time in qualifying with an impressive 19.96 seconds and beating pre-race favorite American Noah Lyles. Well, Lyles missed out on becoming the first man since Usain Bolt to complete an Olympic sprint double and the first American man to complete the Olympic sprint double since Carl Lewis 40 years ago. In the final, Tebogo was comfortable and headed towards the finish line and crossing it with a time of 19.46 seconds. American Kenny Bednarek claimed silver in 19.62 seconds, while Lyles settled for bronze in 19.70 seconds. While shy of his personal best, by the way, it was Botswana's first ever Olympic gold medal. Former African football president Issa Hayatou actually is dead. He died on Thursday after a long illness one day before his 78th birthday. Various agencies have indeed reported. Issa Hayatou's death was initially rumored earlier this year, but was later debunked. The Cameroonian was a long-serving president of the Confederation of African Football for 29 years, from 1988 until his surprise ouster in 2017. He also served as acting FIFA president from 2015 to 2016 after Sepp Blatter was suspended by World Football's governing body. Hayatou was an International Olympic Committee member from 2001 to 2016, after which he became an honorary member. And we wrap up the news on that sad note. But first, before we go, let's bring to you a quick look at our major stories for this hour. Department of State Services DSS denies allegations of invading the headquarters of the Labour Union. A candlelight procession holds in honor of those killed during End Bad Governance protest. And we also told you about authorities in DR Congo sentencing M23 rebel group members. Don't forget sending your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen, and do well to follow us on all socials. We are at News Central TV. And you can always watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, on YouTube, Avo TV, and of course you can stream live on Facebook. My name is Joe Hanson. Many thanks for watching. Good morning.